Ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely pleased to welcome to the programme Cranstoun. Si, are you well?
Hello, Lee J. I'm very well, fella. I'm extremely well, talking to your good self, all the way over there in Spain.
Yeah. Are you still in Hammersmith? Because that's where you started out, isn't it? Hammersmith in Hammersmith Pally in the Clapham Grand.
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, I mean, I started in South London, and I guess my kind of roots, my family, my parents, you know, they were based in South London. So I've got South London roots, but I live out in Surrey now. I've gone for leafy green Surrey, which is, I don't know, works better for songwriting and a better state of mind. I tried to buy in London. I tried to stay in London, but I just couldn't afford it, to be honest. It was just crazy. And this was like 20 years ago, so I've been out in Surrey ever since, really.
No, I understand that. Now, you first came to my attention with The Jewelers, with Ty.
Yeah.
First of all, on the sort of busking thing, and then with tracks like Kiss on Your Lips, which I thought was just brilliant.
Oh, bless you.
Do you still...
Unfortunately, the UK charts at the time didn't really care about it, though.
No.
The radio stations at the time thought it was any good. They were far too busy supporting whatever they had on their desks at the time.
Yeah, whoever was...
past that.
Yeah.
as you can tell, I'm still slightly about it. But anyway, we'll move swiftly on.
Do you know, I still get asked to play that now. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Well, you can,
That's
obviously.
Right. No,
it's
and
a great track.
I still get asked to play it. I have to play it at my gigs now, which is wonderful. You know, I mean, I play it at my gigs. I mean, I branched out onto the vintage scene, and really, I did that as a sort of okay, well, you know, my brother and me had kind of done 20 years bashing and crashing, trying to break through, and it hadn't worked out. You know, in short, the vintage scene was a good manoeuvre for me because I had Dynamo, which was a sort of a hit on that club scene. So I stopped doing the ska purely because I couldn't do it. I wasn't allowed to do it. A lot of the rocking dudes, because they were specifically, look, you've got to play rock and roll, which is understandable. You know, they've got people jiving on the dance floors, and they want stuff for that. So, but recently, because I'm doing my own shows now, along with the sort of retro festivals and Twinwoods and Vegas, I mix it up. So I've started putting Kiss on the Lips back in the set. I do Don't Stay Out Late as well. Yeah. Again, those were tunes that were my call back in the day anyway, you know.
Dynamo and things like Coupe de Ville, which once again I play because I just love them. They are really happy tunes. They're uplifting, aren't they?
Oh, cheers. Well, yeah, you know, I mean, that's just what music's been for me in my life. Do you know what I mean? I'm an optimist, but you know, we all get low in life. We all sort of feel the weight of anxiety, and you know, you're worrying about this and that. You know, and music is you put on a good tune, and it just takes you out of that mindset, you know, and puts you on a better course to see the better things in life. You know, and that's always been what music's meant to me. And that's why I write the sort of tunes that I do. You know, that's why I'm writing an album right now called Jollification. You know, because there are a lot of people out there that are fed up. You know, and music is a great way to get your mind out of the depressing thoughts that, unfortunately, a lot of us are hardwired to think. You know, we just get all down in the dumps. I mean, you know, I remember my mum. She was, you know, she when we were kids, we went through some tough times. You know, and my mum and dad, they were really like stressed and worried about paying the bills for us, you know. And so, you know, I guess it's something that's in all of us, and music, I think, is the key, baby. Oh yeah.
You
Don't
also
get down in the dumps, put on a good tune.
Exactly.
And when you put on that good tune, get off your ass and dance around to it. And when I say dance around, I say dance. I don't care what kind of dance you do. You just do what you think you can do. And if you can't dance, it doesn't really matter. You just get up and I'll tell you, because dancing really, God, bloody hell, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Jump about, it really. I mean, I remember when I was in my 20s, busking around in the streets, and I hated it in a way. So at times, I felt like a failure. I felt I'd been rejected by just about every record label in London. You know, I've even had to try to put a hit record out that was a hit, but was still rejected by radio stations. So what am I doing? I'm on the street, but within seconds, I ditched all that depression and all that anxiety, gone out the window, because I'm jumping about, I'm singing at the top of my voice, and people are clapping and dancing and enjoying it with me, and I was on top of the world. So I went from the bottom of the gutter to the top of the world in seconds through music, you know.
And it's great, isn't it? Because it is so infectious. People just smile and dance. You know, you can't stand still. That is just an impossibility with that, with the sort of ska and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I mean, you know, and I'm still enjoying music. I love music. I know it's not my music. I just love listening to it. To be honest, I'm a music enthusiast. I don't really class myself as a professional at anything. You know, I'm on the piano at the moment. I'm blagging that. I'm learning that every day. Blagging a bit of guitar as well. Just keep bashing away at it. But I'm no expert. I'm not a natural. But I see a lot of these fellas and girls on YouTube and you know social media, and they're just brilliant at what they do, and they can really play it. I've never really been that, but I've just got this kind of iron fast enthusiasm for music. I love listening to it. I love playing it, and you know, hopefully that comes across in what I do and puts me in a unique spot for those people that give me the time of day out there.
Talking about dance, you recorded, I think you wrote it as well, didn't you? Dance Forevermore and Caught in the Moonlight, which I've actually played at a Northern Soul gig, and people wouldn't believe.
Really? That is so cool, man. Thanks, Lee J, the DJ. That is awesome. I love that.
And people were going, "Who's that? Who's that?"
Oh, really? Oh, I've loved soul. Jesus. Soul music. Christ. All I did. My history, I'm just a musical tart. Like, when I was a kid at school, I went through a phase. When I was about 14, 15, all I bought and all I cared about was Stax, Motown, all the old
Atlantic,
soul labels, Kent, Charlie, the Charlie reissues.
Oh, yeah.
And I just went and bought all that stuff. I've still got the albums. I've still got Sam Cooke, like every vinyl album he made. I went and bought all the Stax stuff, the Otis Reddings, the Sam and Daves, the William Bells, I'm going to look at them now, actually. I'll tell you someone I really love as well, and that's, oh God, what's his name? I'll think of his name in a minute. But there's another really great, someone I just discovered, actually, was, why are these names gone out of my head? Anyway, but look, it's so nice that you say Northern Soul, because I love all that stuff, because basically rock and roll kind of became it. Do you know what I mean? Like Little Richard recorded Northern Soul style tunes. You know what I mean? It's like those were all, most of those singers as well. They were sort of old enough, had done rock and roll, and then had switched into the soul thing, because that was how the music just moved, and that was the trend. If you were a working singer and you were singing rock and roll, you better shift to soul if you were out of the 50s and in the 60s, you know. That's just the way it was. So I love all that stuff, and it's great that someone was playing you were playing me a Northern Soul doing it. Actually, the dance floor stayed busy.
Oh, yeah. No, it is, but it's one of those tunes that you can fit in anywhere. And another quick story, because I think you'll like this. I was working at a gig, and I played one of your tracks, which I think was Vegas Baby. And this guy came rushing up to me and said, "Who is that, and how can I get a copy?" And he's he's Swiss. And he's probably your biggest Swiss fan.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's so cool. Vegas Baby was, that's like, I wasn't trying to, but I was kind of like, it was almost like I was writing a song for Jackie Wilson when I was writing it before I started singing it. I was like, okay, because I knew that Dynamo had done well, and it was like I knew another album, another tune in that kind of vein, and so that's how Vegas came about. I put the ding-a-ding-a-ding jackpot machine, I'm gonna do it, you know.
Excellent.
So I have some of that. So it was kind of playing on the whole reet petite thing.
Yeah.
And that's been a good little tune in this. Again, that's another, when people come to see the show, that's what I do. I always try to give people everything I can, and it's because I've got a kind of a long old legacy of music. When people come to see the shows, because I've booked a whole tour for the spring of next year, the winter of this year, I've got like some Christmas dates. But when people come to see the show, I try to sort of give them my story, you know what I mean? And hope my voice kind of glues the fact that they're listening to ska, soul, rock and roll, doo-wop, blues, you know, all those sort of influences just come out of me, and hopefully it sort of glues everything together and into a good night out, you know. So that's, you know, so Vegas Baby has always stayed in the set, as as Dynamo, Cooperville.
Yeah.
Kiss on the Lips is in because of, it's just a bit of my heritage as well. And it's funny, really, Kiss on the Lips, because that was one of those situations where I had been rejected by just about every label going, and I was doing a Saturday job with my brother, and we'd started a website. Well, I started the website, and we started collecting email addresses and putting on dues. And that first do was a tiny little club, you know what I mean, like just 300 people, but we managed to fill it out.
Wow.
And it just built from there. And because we had all that interest, I said to my brother, let's just put a song to it. Let me write a song and let's just see what happens, And that's how Kiss on the Lips came about, I was busy writing it and put it out, and it got in the charts, and we were a big news story. Unfortunately, we just found a big radio play story. It was like, oh, these Oscars have busted their way into the charts with no manager and no label. Right, and on to other things in the news now. They didn't even play it, you know what I mean? It was like, it was a news story. They didn't even play the song. It was just sort of, it was just bizarre juxtaposition. Yeah, it was frustrating. And I remember Radio 1's reply. I think Joe Wiley at Radio 1's reply was, you guys just don't have enough press for us. We're interested. But it was like it was like a sort of a reply, like obviously someone at Radio 1 had responded, but it was like, really? Do you know what I mean? And then Top of the Pops, that was hilarious. We were in the Top of the Pops thing, but because we were 21, we weren't in the top 20 to even get mentioned on that program. So, there you go.
When you sit down to write, I'm assuming you do sit down and write. I mean, I don't know, sometimes ideas come to people when they're just walking around. Do you have that sort of inspiration where you think, oh yeah, so-and-so would have done it like this, or I'm going to write it like that? Or does just a song come to you and you think, hang on a minute, it's got to go that way? Or how does it work with you?
Yeah, I mean, songwriting, I think it's different every time I go to it. I mean, I've learned over the years not to kind of calculate the way in which you create something. If sometimes it'll just arrive in your head and you'll wake up, you'll be dreaming something and you'll think, hang on a minute, that song I'm just going round and round in my head, that's actually, I don't know that song. And then you think quick and you grab a tape recorder, a dictaphone or whatever, or your phone, and you sing it into it. And then you're singing gobbledygook, and then you've got to try and forge a lyric to the gobbledygook that you just, the melody that you sung. And then other times you might I'll be sitting at the piano, and it might just be a chord progression that will kind of inspire me and think, oh, that chord, some chords just sound so good, next to each other. You just think, oh, I've got to sing something over that. And often, you find anything sometimes, if a chord progression is that good, that you sing over the top of it actually sounds okay. So you can get away with that. Same for the guitar. But then there's other times when, you just think of a phrase that someone comes out with or something, or it might just be something that my dad said, or some way, or something that is kind of, current of the day. And you try sort of maybe build something around that. But it's just art. I'm a total mess in the way I write, and I often find myself going back to old songs that I've written that were on demos and going, oh, right, you did a brilliant verse there, but that chorus is absolute dog's mess, so get rid of that chorus, and I'll tell you what, let's bolt that chorus to this chorus idea that you did 5 months later. So it's almost, I guess, in answer to your question, a very long-winded answer, I think the best way to write songs, if I could tell a younger me to write a good song, I would say the best way to do it is to collaborate with yourself over different times. So you listen to yourself for an idea that you came up with, a year ago, and then react to that idea, and try and polish up that idea or blend that idea with an idea that you've had a year or, 5 months later. That's how Dynamo came about, So you're almost collaborating with yourself over different time spots.
That's brilliant.
Rather than sitting down and going, I need to come up with a song, you better go away and come up with a song. That worked best for me, at least, anyway. And that's, I think, some of the ways in which songs that people have often said, oh, play that one, more popular songs have come about,
During lockdown.
That was it, Lee Dorsey.
Lee Dorsey, yes. Working in a coal mine.
God, yeah, and Holy Cow.
Yes, I saw him once.
What was that other one he did? And he did a few, but there's some really groovy Lee Dorsey tunes.
Yeah. No, I saw him live once in Birmingham.
Along with Coleman. He was an underrated guy as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
carry on.
Anyway, 2020, during lockdown, you recorded Poems Unlocked, which was a very acoustic thing, which is very different for you. Was that something just because you couldn't get together with other musicians?
It was, yeah, it was. I mean, lockdown, as for everyone, it was this sort of, you were kind of in watching a sci-fi movie, you know, and it was this real surreal kind of time, and it was a time that I just kind of I just fell into my guitars, fell into just trying to write with the guitar, and I just thought I was also a fan of the old, you know, a lot of that old bluegrass stuff. You know, like I was listening to a lot of Burl Ives in lockdown. I was listening to a load of Bob Dylan, Josh White, you know, some of those old kind of bluegrass singers that would just would sing with their guitars. And I've always loved it. And in fact, it was 2019 I kind of got into that stuff. I was always kind of into it, but I really sort of discovered it and took it on a holiday trip, and that was all I listened to. And then when lockdown kicked in, I just sort of reached for my guitar, and I just thought, let's just try and write for guitar. You know, I thought, let's try and turn this whole kind of isolation into something which I can get through and find an angle over, as opposed to getting depressed that I can't gig and I'm losing all my savings, and, you know, the world is sort of almost falling apart around us. People are, you know, perishing. So that's what I did, and I just did Poems Unlocked, which is, you know, so there's a bunch of tunes on there. In fact, there's a tune on there. There's a couple of tunes, actually. Closeness and Shining Lights are two that I really want to kind of just put out, you know, like perform and do a nice performance piece. So keep an eye, you know, if your listeners want to tune in and watch, keep an eye on my on the YouTube channel, Cranstoun Official. Then there'll be some clips of that, because I've just been rehearsing Shining Lights, actually.
There are some
came about.
Brilliant things on your YouTube channel, I must admit, because I do watch it myself. But you can also...
Bless you. Thank you very much.
It's all right. You can also buy your music through your online shop, can't you?
You can, yeah. I've got like packages of sort of like, you know, CD sort of bundles that I've done on there that people can do, and I do try and ship. At the moment, shipping's a bit expensive across the world, and I do need to get a plot on that. It's just because it all got a bit expensive. But if anyone, wants to have a look at the shop, my wife and I run it, and there's some CDs up there. But it's to be honest, at the moment, it's all about the new album Jollification, really, and that's in getting that out. And I've had some, I have had some computer problems. It's an interesting story, actually. So I'm in the middle of. Well, not in the middle. I'm on one of the last tunes I'm mixing for the album, and I'm mixing one night very late, and then the following morning I get up really early, going really fired up about this tune on the new album, and my computer doesn't fire up. Anyway, long story short, the bloody thing just died, so I had to take it to a Mac repair guy. Or girl, as it were, and she phones me and says, "Have you spilt water on your Mac?" I went, "No," and I was thinking, like, the kid's been in my studio. Anyway, another long story short, the line goes quiet, and then she goes, and I hear this, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "There's a dead slug at the bottom of your computer that has taken out your power supply circuit." She goes, "I've never seen anything like it." She sent me the phone. Anyway, so it's a slug kills my computer. Another long story short, it takes out the graphics card. Another long story short, the computer's beyond economical repair.
Oh my God.
On to next story, I've had to buy a whole new computer because this slug has just completely killed my music. 10 years. I don't know how it got in. We've had some building work done, and there's a couple of holes on the side of the building where I've had to we've had some issues with the alarm, so he's obviously got in, but it's a bizarre situation. But I've got photographs of it. I mean, you can barely make out it's a slug, but it's this fried thing all over the circuit board. Anyway, the new computer arrived yesterday. I'm plugging it in today, so new album hopefully will be out in the next month, onwards, sideways and upwards.
Brilliant. Well, when that album is out, please pick a couple of tracks and send them to me, because we'd love to get them in the show.
Yeah, that'd be great, mate. I'd love to get them over to you. And I have kind of gone for it a bit on this album. There's a few bangers on there as well. So
Great.
there's a bit of ska, rock and roll. It's the stuff I love, you know. It's just me. And there's me singing my heart out, you know. So, no, I'd love to get you. I'll get you one of the first copies.
You're a star. Thank you. Thank you very much. Si Cranstoun, thank you so much for sparing me the time, because I know you're extremely busy, and obviously you're setting everything up for the album.
I am indeed, but it's a wonderful experience. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and it's really, really nice to have someone enthusing about my music. I can't tell you because you know, I'm still battling, you know, in my head all the things I have to battle. So to have a nice conversation with your good self and to hear your kind words is real encouragement, and I hugely appreciate that. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you. Take care, sir. And maybe one day we
right.
will get you over here, because we tried once before with the duos and it all went horribly wrong. But maybe we will get you
I'd
over.
love to come. Yeah, that would be awesome. All right, listen, have a great day, and thanks again for having me on the show, and to all your listeners, thanks for tuning in. This is Si Cranstoun, and onwards, upwards. Keep smiling, keep dancing.
And keep producing damn good music. Thank you, Si. Take care.
Cheers. All right, all the best.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.